Hey guys, Deb the Awesome here to give you the final chapter, if you will, the big ol' uh end it to the three-parter of my final thoughts on the October 13th slash 18th deny update. It was a big ol' update that affected deny for the most part. They updated the basically, well, in short, to keep it simple, basically, normal chain deny died. You can't just spam freeze forever or spam possession forever. That's no longer a thing. You can, however, theoretically, you can still do it, but you have to work towards it now. You can't just press the same skill over again, or just the skill and then another. Like, let's say Kihaki, you can't just spam this AoE and then do another AoE. You can't do that anymore. You have to work for it now. You have to run monsters with remove positive effects because now freeze and possession got the stun treatment. You can, if you are frozen or possessed, you will gain the recently possessed or recently frozen immunity. It basically all basic deny, you know, is all equal. Stun is no longer really trash because now freezing and possession are are on the same boat. So they're all bosom buddies now. They're all like, hey, dude, we're sorry for being better than you. We now stoop down to your to your level, which which is bad, but but it's good. It's good in terms of the environment because this buffed a whole bunch of monsters' usage. However, it killed a lot of monsters' usage. So again, it's kind of like the equilibrium. A lot of monsters got buffed with these changes, and a lot of monsters got nerfed. They also updated traits, so now if you're immune to stun, you're immune to mega stun. If you're immune to freeze, you're immune to mega freeze, so on and so forth. Except for possession, I feel like possession on the notes page, they said like if you have like the status and or the trait of immune to possession, you're immune to the basic possession, but you're not immune to like reboot and hacked and all that stuff. I never really got that. That is something I never really understood. Like it makes sense for like abomination monsters, yeah, what have you. Uh, but yeah, I don't get that. I don't know why possession it was getting like some special treatment because Mega Freeze and Mega Stun got a nerf hammer. Why didn't like advanced possession, like advanced deny in general, got in terms of the freezing and stun aspects got hit, but like possession did it. I don't know. I don't know. It's whatever. But that's what it said in the update thing. If you looked at the updates page at that time, it was just worded like that. That's just why I brought it up. But anywho, we're going to talk about the last three elements today: magic, light, and metal. Alrighty, magic monsters. I'd say this is second place for monsters that got hit the most because there are quite a few AoE possession monsters in the magic category. A lot of people consider this a not very good category. And then I guess not a whole lot of people. I guess a handful of always kind of thought this was a garbage element. I never really thought that once. Like in terms of monsters, like they always have some interesting deny aspects to them in terms of like possession's always been strong. Like straight up, this category excels in possession. A lot of monsters possessing this element. I never really found that bad. I always found it good to just and kind of busted to kind of just possess the enemy, and the enemy just kind of does whatever they want in my favor. So I always thought that was good. I think that's dumb. But this element got hit with the change up because a whole lot of monsters possessed in this element. They didn't really have like the advance, like hacked and or reboot. They never had that luxury. I don't believe, but they've always had possession skills. They've had multiple single target possession skills or AoE possession skills. Galante family in general specializes in possessions. Galante with his two single target possessions, and Violet with her AoEs, and their son with his AoEs. He has two. Violet's and their son, Galante Jr., got hit more so than Galante himself because Galante relies on single target possessions for the most part, so I can just kind of swap between two different individuals. Odds are the first one will probably do an AoE deny skill, or the second one will probably do an AoE deny skill, so you're all good there. That's theoretically, doing some good chain denying in your favor, because again, possession is kind of busted because you get their unit and the unit does something in your favor. Usually an AoE deny skill or an AoE control effect, which is really good. Or it could be the damage dealer, and the damage dealer just kind of destroys their entire team. It totally depends on a scenario basis. What else is there? I will say a lot of monsters that didn't really rely on possession in the magic category didn't get hit hard by this, like they didn't care. Bowtie is a great example of this. I think Bowtie is a phenomenal monster because he doesn't rely on deny to actually deny the enemy team of their deny capabilities. He relies on AoE control immunities, though he's not as good as Kokora in the sense of just preventing damage period with the AoE evasion, which Kokora has and Bowtie doesn't. He's really good in the monsters with the AoE immunity is good in the concept of being able to just prevent people from spam denying you, which in terms of the basic control effects, which is good. Zyron the Ruby, though I don't think she's bothered by this. If anything, mountain monsters just bother her more. Yeah, I will just say extremely. Like, in terms of mountain monsters, yeah. Zyron the Ruby, honestly, I don't think Zyron was really hit hard in terms of any capacity with this chance, because she procs 2 denies at once. And even when that denies over, odds are your team's probably dead because she's done her job at this point. I don't know if she really cared too much about the change, like at all. I still feel like she's good. Like she still does stupid things. A lot of people are running the AoE cooldowns activate. I think it's like an AoE cooldowns activated skill, and that's actually really good. That's been killing a lot of teams. I've been seeing that more, and it's strong. It's really good. Dungeon Master. There's quite a few magic monsters actually that went up in value. Dungeon Master being the finest of all examples, for she has AoE total blind and AoE cooldowns activated and a single target total blind. So as long as you're not fighting an Elvira matchup, you can just kind of do whatever you want because you got the controls to back it up. Like I said in the last video, things that could AoE total blind went up in value, because it guarantees that they miss their skill. So basically that's a deny, and you can spam total blind. It's as far as I'm concerned, it's the only deny-ish kind of skill in the game, besides, very special deny, like stop time, or I think it's like called trolled. Yeah, so trolled. Total blind can be spammed. Like you can spam total blind. Total blind is basically a deny skill. I think it became like a new common deny now. I think it's fair to consider it that, because a lot of monsters now are getting the AoE total blind. We just got it on the nature monster Sergeant Hulkhead, which is looking like a really good tank. Total blind I think can be considered a common deny now. It's looking pretty good because again you can chain it. She has 2, I believe, which is awesome. She also has I think she's still good. She's very, if anything, she went up in value. Dungeon Master is really good. Oh, is there anything else that got nerfed in value in terms of magic monsters? I really don't think so. Maybe Egg Eater, in the sense that his AoE, like anything really that ran more than one AoE possession, I think got hit hard. But if everything ran like a single target, let's say if it runs like a single target possession, it won't care too much. Like again, Galante doesn't care too much because he relied on single target deny anyway. But just in terms of like spam possession forever, that aspect has been nerfed, so it just doesn't work that well. However, again, possession is still really good. I'm just saying you can't just spam possess, and control them like all the time unless you work for it. It's the same concept with freeze. Freeze is still really good, but you have to remove, remove positive effects or whatever. Same goes for stun now, because again, all are equal. So you just hit the remove positive effects now. That's all that really means. I think Lamuna's really, really good. if you're looking for monsters, in all honesty, if you're looking for a monster, like a team speeder or anything, whatever have you, uh, to remove positive effects, I think you should consider Lamuna. It's not like a broken monster, but it's like it has everything you want. I like to consider like a Mario character. Uh, if you ever play Smash, Mario, if you ever play like Smash and play Mario, Mario is essentially the basic of all basic things. It has everything you could use. The character that has everything, all the basic things. Not like all things, but all the essential things a player needs to just beat someone down to a brick. She works just fine in competitive play. Is what I'm just trying to say. Even though there are other options that are just really more busted, she's fine. I love running Lamuna. It's a really well thought out monster. She has an AoE skill that not only removes positive effects, but also causes negate healing, which is really common nowadays, given like relics and stuff. Negate healing is looking pretty good, along with reverse healing. What else is there? I will say, since people are relying more on cooldown's activation now, Pinky Flash is looking pretty strong. If you actually take the time to rank it up. I don't know how many people are, but if you do, she has like an 80 damage skill that's magic based. I don't know. I don't remember if it's on like I think it was like on a 1 turn cooldown, if not no cooldown, and it's disgusting. I think she has like at least a 65 one too, or like 60 65. That's spammable. Good against Timera. As far as I'm concerned, if you want to kill a Timera, bring Pinky Flash. Bring a Pinky and just watch her deal damage without even having to set up. But that's genuinely about it. Shannara's Bodyguard. Oh my god, Shannara's Bodyguard. So like I said in the last video, tanks, besides Mountain Monsters have gained the most value from this update. The second being tanks in general. Like all tanks got a huge godsend. So things like Shannara's Bodyguard or Bowtie. Bowtie is also considered a tank because his high life pull stat is ridiculous. He has a phenomenal speed and a really good life stat. Shannara Bodyguard got pretty much the good end of the stick with this update. And if you did rank him up over the Dharma's Bodyguard, which was a better investment, like investing in a Shannara's Bodyguard was better. Because, they nerfed Dharma's damage gameplay. Dharma's Bodyguard's gameplay. And Shannara's Bodyguard now can pretty much chill without having to worry about being denied forever. Which is pretty good. I like that. It's looking pretty spicy. Not being spammed, frozen, or spam possessed forever is really good for it. However, the possession has not really activated yet. The recently possessed has yet to be a thing. When it does, it's going to look pretty good for this man, because that was the only thing that bothered him, was the being chain possessed forever. That's why I wasn't really too into it, because I didn't like to be chain possessed forever. That was the problem with the monster. I wasn't immune to possession. I think if it was immune to possession, it would be a lot better. But it's not. But now with this update, you shouldn't have to care too much about it anymore, because they can only control it for like a turn, and odds are it'll do like a self-tank scale, or maybe like the AoE stun, which is, well, it isn't the ideal. It won't bother Shannara's Bodyguard because he himself is immune to stun. I'm just saying there's very limited times you can control this thing, and once he's able to control himself, he could do like a protection skill or just something dumb. Same goes for like Bowtie. Bowtie has good healing relics. He can hold 2 essences, and he has a health regen skill, along with the stamina regen. Same thing goes with Shannara's pet, who is essentially, I like to consider a nerfed version of like Invar's. Invarv, General Invarv, because she does basically the same thing in terms of the best thing that you could get out of her, which is like AoE, life, and stamina regen. What else is there? That's genuinely about it. Jellotron and Privateer Morgan are looking pretty good. In terms of magic damage dealers, they don't really rely. I didn't really say they really relied on Deny, but in terms of their individual uses, I think he has doesn't he have Harden? Yeah, he does. Privateer Morgan has Harden. I think Privateer Morgan is a really good damage dealer because a lot of things seem to be in Evil Legions. If you're looking for like in the last video I talked about water damage dealers. If you want some magic damage dealers, my boys and gals, Privateer Morgan and Jelotron should be your top priorities. Like if you invest in both of these monsters in terms of magic damage dealers, you might not need any anymore because these two are really good. Privateer Morgan, as far as I'm concerned, Privateer Morgan dumps on most of the monsters on defense because a lot of monsters used on defense are Evil Legion monsters. We're talking like Baratigor or Balor or like Dungeon Master. Name the Evil Legion's monster. You know, name a really really common defense monster. It's probably Evil Legion. We use Cryotans. We use Agursuses. This man has so many good matchups because someone at SB's like, hey, we should make a monster who has a book hater for Evil Legion monsters. Not realizing that that half the cast in the game just seems to be from Evil Legions. 114 to be exact. It's 14 dude, there's 15 chapters of Evil Legion's monsters. This man like takes a total dump on all these monsters in the game. All these monsters are top tier. Ziofax to Faraday. There's so many good matchups for this monster because there's every single thing that's put on defense is from Evil Legions. It's crazy. It's crazy that they made this monster. Even Agursus, who is a pain to deal with, is in this book. So once Privateer Morgan gets his setup skill, he just kind of destroys on anything in the game at that point. That's anything in Evil Legions. Odds are that people double stack Evil Legion monsters, or maybe even triple stack. If you're in a war situation where they all put just Evil Legion monsters on defense, Privateer Morgan will clean the floor, like absolutely. So it's not a bad monster to invest in terms of a rank up aspect. Plus, hey, magical balls, magical balls. If you watch I think I live streamed it. But I didn't like. I did it. It was a funny clip. It was funny, but I was. Yeah. Jelotron. Jelotron's really good because he's immune to all control effects. All the common ones. I mean, immune to stun, mega stun, freeze, mega freeze, and then regular and exclusive possessions too, which is really really good. Light monsters. What's up with light monsters? They actually don't care at all about this update. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, they care none. Simply due to the fact they've never really relied on possession to get things done. They've more so relied on extra turn, double damage skills. Like Demise, for example, and or AoE evasion from Gakora. Gakora. If you're in a light war, odds are you'll see a Gakora. Gakora is just amazing. It's like I think he's like top 5 in the game, honestly. It's just so good. He has everything you could ever want to just keep the enemy team from doing anything. From damage mirroring if you want to AoE life regen, having a healing essence, for a relic you can run any of the you can run an essence and a shield. So if you have tenacity shield, just amazing synergy. It's basically the monster you run to annoy anyone else that's running a denier. I think they buffed Gakora with this deny nerf because not being able to chain Gakora forever, it's bothersome. Like you want to deny Gakora for as long as possible if you do get the chance to deny him, because you don't want him to do the AoE immunity control or the AoE evasion, which is worse. Like worst case scenario, he does AoE evasion turn 1, and it's not good for you. It is not. Now you have less of a chance to. Not only do you have a less chance to control him forever, where in terms of the common deny aspect, you can't keep him controlled forever if you don't build up for it. It's a really really strong pick. But for the most part, they never really cared about it. The recent update. Maybe Elvira with her ultimate, which is an AoE Mega Stun. But to that extent, no one in the light category even cares about it because most of them are support monsters. Tanks, like I said, gained they're the second monsters that gained the most value from this. So your boy Bucket Helm, aka Aran, which is the The species names are ran, but aka Bucket Hill. He's a tank, and to not be spam frozen forever or spam stunned forever, and or mega stunned forever. You get my point. Really, really good for him. Increases his playability, especially with that taunt gameplay. Like his taunt playability is pretty good. Now that you can't be just frozen forever or stunned forever. At some point, he just gets to move, which is awesome. Rabish, who is essentially a denier, has a total blind skill, so he didn't really care about it. He didn't care about the deny update. Everyone's running Elvira. As far as I'm concerned, if it's not a Gakora that's being ran on defense, it's an Elvira, who has AoE evasion turn 1, which is really good. And you have immune to total blind. Essentially, like you have the AoE immune to blind, so you're immune to total blind, so it just kind of destroys total blind gameplay. But overall, I don't think the category was bothered. If anything, people will just more so lean towards Gakora and Elvira more than ever, because this just seems to be the thing. I think even before the update, I was leaning towards this anyway. I was leaning towards revival and or AoE evasions more, like AoE evasion way more than deny, because it just prevents you from getting hit by anything. Okay, so there are two common phrases for war. One, well, at least this is a response to, losing a lot of fights and or other things. One, I get ulted turn 1, or 2, I missed my deny. Those are the two top things you will say. Like those are the top two answers a player will tell you if they are asked, what happened this war. Those are the two things they'll say, and they're absolutely true. Because that's how a lot of games go. Even let's say we plan like the perfect team, right, to go against this other team. Say you missed a deny, and bam, the enemy team got their ult forward, because fuck your luck, because your luck. It's just what happened. Just kind of lose the game because of it. That's how a lot of games go. Actually, it's phenomenal. Ults win games. It's one of the more bothersome things about this game. Are ults, because they're really strong and they usually turn the tide of war. Now, given that's dependent on a few things, it's not just I got my ult, I win. It only applies to like Cryo 10 and or in terms of a rune aspect. I'm more so talking about like rune aspects here. Obviously the ranking and the runes matter, but if you have like, let's say, an Oros and or Cryo 10, like I said in the prior video, their ults are really good. The cheese tactic, if they get that, they kind of just win. Evasion my main point of this is evasion pretty much prevents that. Like it doesn't actually matter what they do, because you're immune to you're in this whole reality, like a whole different reality right now. You're not bothered by anything. If you have evasion up, you're not bothered by anything. I think they made it so you can drain stamina again. I'm not too sure on that. I think that you dodge cooldowns now, but I don't remember if you dodged stamina evasion. I don't know if they nerfed that. I don't know if they reversed. They did because I remember them, adding it to the evasion, but then they might have nerfed it again since of Elvira. So they might have made it so you can drain enemy stamina. That's the extent of what I know. I don't know. I just don't know. I think I got stamina drained once, even though I had AoE evasion up. I can't remember. What else is there? I think that's genuinely it in terms of the light category. Overall, this is one of the few categories that weren't really bothered with this update, like at all. So they're looking really spicy at the moment, because they just have the ability to not care. Because they have all these great sustaining monsters with really good relics. Honestly, a lot of light monsters have really good relics because they're usually like they have an amulet, so they have good self-sustainability. Alkanine, for example, only has he has like a trap relic, which is gross. I know, but unless you have like the AoE trap stamina, and then it's not really that good. Uh, the amulet, however, gives him self sustainability and or stamina regen. It's very versatile. The amulet's really good in terms of versatility. Gakora again, essence and shield. I do believe Rasi God has like two, either like a shield and a potion or two shields. So double tenacities, what have you. Cloud, essence and shield. I think Regniel has like a essence and a shield or a staff and a shield. I don't really remember. I don't think it tells you. No, it doesn't really tell you either. But you get my general point. Usually, light monsters have really good relic slots. Usually. Not all of them, but they usually do. It's just looking like a pretty good category. Uran has like okay, so the number one problem with Uran back in the day was he didn't really have any healing. Now with this, with the relics, he can run the healing mask, which it gives him a lot of healing, as far as I'm concerned. Healing mask is just great sustainability overall. Giving him healing, it'll give him way more than enough to make use of it. Like he just get all of his life back, like almost all of it, and then just still preserve his life with shields and taunt and all that stupid stuff. But again, you get my point. Light monsters have good sustaining relics. They kind of just nullify being denied, and now since they can't be denied all too much anymore, this just improves their usage of their healing items that they can wield in battle, which is awesome. Metal. Okay, so this is the last element that we're going to talk about. Alright, I think in terms of monsters that weren't bothered by this update the most, like these guys are like looking at like the kings right now, in terms of monsters that just don't care. Like they really don't care about this recent change. I know that's kind of weird for me, but there's quite a bit of deniers in the denied category. Well, like how are they not bothered by this? Several reasons. One, they're usually relied on either cooldowns activation and or like evasion skills. I'm looking at you, Timeron. I'm looking at you. Second, they have a lot of artifact monsters. Namely, a lot of people like running Flamirion on defense, even though he's allergic to cooldowns activation. Again, if you get your ult, it's kind of like the ult, you put something on defense. Well, that doesn't seem like it does too much. Well, if you get your ult, that that kind of means game. I see a lot of people run like a life and 2 strengths on defense with Flamirion. I actually fought that once too. I actually lost the fight because of it. Like I even if though I cooldown activated it, I didn't do enough damage in time for like, and it did like its ult, and I lost. Because that's how it went. That's the extent of that fight. It lasted too long. He got his ult, and I lost. That's why, again, evasion, really good because it prevents that. And I didn't have it at the time of fighting Flamira. So artifact again, you don't really get bothered by any of the die in the game. So there's that. 2, they have various denies. Like in terms of metal monsters, I will say in terms of monsters in general, metal monsters seem to get the gift of different kind of deny aspects. Because we got like Hackster with the AoE possession and stun. We got words. We got what else we got with different very versatile deny. I think Haxor's one of the only ones with the versatile deny actually. But we got Scrapware with spam total blind. We got Timerion with again cooldowns activation AoE space time. We got what else we got? I think Wojtek does Mega Freeze, which is disgusting. Ezreal has AoE cooldowns activation. What else is there? Talos the Forgotten Artifact has like trait disabled possession or like reboot, which is disgusting. And then Tankirion has a single target mega stun, I believe. So there's just different deny aspects to characters. He also holds like a regular stun too. Like they usually hold like double denies, so they can work on different enemies at once. M2 Wyvern. I will say M2 Wyvern's kind of like the Thedes metal monster due to relics now, because if you run like the Obliteration staff, he can actually act like a damage dealing Thedes, which is a scary thought, but he could do that. I've done it once. Like I've run the Obliteration draft and the 50% stamina drain skill, and it basically functions just like that because you take all their stamina away, while also doing a lot of damage, which is disgusting. Even though the AO is usually 30 damage, double damage that, bam, 60. It's disgusting. And you drained all their stamina, and you can still do more stuff, and they still can't because you have denied them, but also drained their stamina at the same time. But yeah, for the most part, those are the reasons. One, artifact monsters. Two, cooldown activated reliant monsters are usually in this book. And three, how about like all these middle monsters seem to have multiple ways of dealing with it, and or just have multiple alternatives to go with. Wojtek also, I should have also added this, beyond the Mega Freeze, Wojtek also has the stun, AoE stun immunities and freeze immunities all in one move that also gives a shield, I think. I think it also gave shield, which is dumb. But yeah, they just have various ways of dealing with deny and or just not bothered by it, period. A lot of these monsters usually have hardened, which is disgusting. And or immune, like just strong, passives. They've always just had strong passive. It's just dumb. That's really, really good. Captain Copperbeard, bam, mountain monster, immune to freeze and stun. Now essentially immune to mega freeze and mega stun. Ezreal, Angel, stun, mega stun, bleed resistance. I think, artifact monsters immune to everything. Don't care. Gangster Saurus, immune to possession. So you can't really control him, and he can do like really strong life recoveries. It's just, it goes on. Hercule the champ, immune to freeze, doesn't care about anything. Really good. Again, monsters, they just don't care. They just have various ways of doing things. Metalhead, I consider Metalhead the most Mario monster of all of the monsters in Monster Legends. I will say in terms of balanced monsters, like he's just the neutral. He's the basic monster, especially just in terms of metal monsters. He's the Mario of the category. He does AoE stun, single target possession. He just really basic stuff. Like in terms of a monster that can do anything, he has all the basics. It's really good. It's, Mario monster, doesn't give credit about anything. Really good. But that's it for this video. That's all my thoughts on the category. If you're looking for damage dealers in this category, I don't know why I even brought damage dealers, because I didn't bring it up in this category because I only really brought it up for the magic category because the element got hit hard in terms of the deny aspect. This one so doesn't. But in terms of middle monsters, I personally like running. In terms of a competitive, or like really solid competitive aspect, I think Octex is kind of overlooked. Even though his damage isn't over, like he has a lot of 50 damage skills, like all of his single target skills are on like no cooldown. They don't run on any cooldown. You can actually buff him. It essentially has self buffs. He has a precision skill that they do damage and a buff. Like he does the damage and buff himself at the same time, so gradually becoming a better unit over the course of a battle, which is strong. He can give himself precision, damage boost, really, really good. He also has good DOTs, bleed, and like burning. Really, really good. M2 Wyvern, Gangster Saurus. These monsters are really good. M2 Wyvern holds like an 80 damage skill, I believe, which is disgusting. Roxanne, oh my god. I didn't even bring up my boy Roxanne. Roxanne Cox has fire damage and metal-based damage. Like really, really high quality damage. Like we're talking 75 damage. Two 75 damage skills on one turn cooldowns. If you want to rank up a metal damage dealer, Roxanne Cox is like the best thing to do. It's just really good. But that's really it. That's all I really want to talk about for my final thoughts. Overall, these changes have actually been really healthy for the game. A lot of people are actually enjoying their matches more. You know, when they're not getting ulted to death. uh, but beyond that, yeah, everyone's liking the changes. I actually don't mind the changes because it's either A, if the game feels better, and or B, it doesn't feel as different as usual. I think most people are kind of going beyond, just spamming chain freeze forever and or possession. I think the game's like starting to get to the point where we're doing different things on defense. Because I think it's just because the AI is doing different things now. So we're just kind of adapting to what the AI will do, and we have relics now, So there's just a various things and reasons why. Again, I'm not, me personally, as in terms of a competitive player, I'm not bothered by this because it always bothered me that I was frozen forever or possessed forever, and to get like recently possessed and recently frozen on quite a few of my monsters, it's actually really good. It boosts a lot of monsters' playability, like again tanks. Uh, if you ever watch any of my streams, I'm a huge fan of like quite a bit of tanky monsters. I've been using Living Forest as of late, and dude, it's looking really good. Like I used him especially in this current war, and especially in like possession fights. So I ran him, and I ran like my Elitri and Baba Yaga against like a Baba Yaga. I think it was like a Baba Yaga, uh, where it's a fatted and like uh things with it was another monster with like insta death skills. It was like a monster with an insta death skill, like a insta kill status effect. Not like as in like insta death. I think it could insta death, but I no, I think that was just fatted himself. The way the fatted had the insta death. The other monster was just a monster that could be dealt with. I think it was like a Lamu, Baba Yaga, and like fatted, and I won the fight. Cause again, I couldn't really be. I guess it wouldn't. I guess no, that because that doesn't have freeze in it. But no, it's looking pretty good. I'm happy with these changes. Uh, I think at some point I've used this in like a freeze fight. It's nice to actually get a turn in when you're not getting frozen forever. But no, this monster. This is also I highly recommend this monster too in terms of remove positive effect monsters because he has a lot of stuff going for it. He has a one turn cooldown, 30% heal with the remove negative effects, and he removes positive effects on the enemy team with another skill that also applies poison at the same time. Lots of stamina in terms of the move's cost, but it's worth it because it does a lot of stuff for you. Yeah, that's about it. Let me know what you guys think of the changes in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys later in the next video.